We're joined by Sean. How are you doing, Sean?
Really well, thank you, Porky. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Let's get straight down to business. The aftermath. Uh, Now that we've all had time to reflect on the weekend's boxing, I don't see any mention from any of the 22 interviews we've seen from the Liquor Squad media about was the fixing or was Rhino fit? Yes or no? All we're seeing is emotions and he did his best and Mr. Humble and all that. What's your take on it all now? Now we've just had the 48 hour to digest it. You know, him pissing, taking a piss on us from Penthouse. What do you think?
I think he's managed to do about 30 media interviews and they're all singing his praises, almost like a eulogy for the fact that he's everyone's hero. When the reality is, they must have gasped when he stepped on those scales, when he
Well, they
promised them
did,
all he
didn't they?
trains like in
Well, everybody said he was stronger, faster, quicker than a speeding bullet in the shape of his life, and it went quiet when they said, "Oh, read his weight out." You've seen on box, right? That's not shape of your life, is it?
259 pounds. Could have
So six
easily
pounds
been
less than Fisher fight.
could have easily been 235 there with his frame. He didn't do the diet, did he? Don't know how much of the cardio he did and stuff, but he didn't do the diet. He mentioned for the last few weeks he had a young Joe Hayden doing his best to make his meal prep, but it's his job. It's his job to do that, and he's not done it. And now he's being rewarded for the fact that he didn't live the life that he's meant to do. And none of the press, I'll call them press loosely, have mentioned it because they're all jumping on the bandwagon now because he's getting lots of views. Even Carl Froch's jumped on and done one um, to get some views. We've seen them all popping up, pro boxing fans, everyone in between, having the little Dave Allen interviews either with him directly or with people who are at the fight. And I think the only bit of honesty I saw was a little bit from Duke McKenzie. Um, but the rest, Gad, who he paid tribute to in the ring afterwards, like if it was nauseating, like they were best friends, like he's always looked after him. And then all the talk sport clappers, it's just it was a myth. I'd have loved to have seen a tenth of the coverage on Reece Bellotti getting robbed, but no, just a little bit of little bit of a mentioning all the cards were a bit wide. Steve Gray was had an off night, but he's a lovely judge, and then nothing about the fact that
Steve Gray,
Dave
what
on
referee?
sorry, Steve Gray. But yeah, and the fix was in because every time he looked at him, Mac looked at him wrong, they docked a point. Never the fact he'd punched him in the David punched him in the knackers first and was doing his best to fight there. And I know it's not a tickling contest, um, but the fix was in, but even then he couldn't do it, could he?
No. Does giving Rhino more chances send out the wrong messages to boxers coming through? Does it mean that well you don't have to train if you just want to get on Twitter and talk bollocks?
Absolutely. What the message it does send is don't worry about living the life. You can mess up, but as long as you play to the media and be Mr. Humble and happy go lad, and then also mention various stages of victimhood, you'll get another chance. It shouldn't be like that. Imagine how many good younger pros there are who don't shift a ticket but have done all the talent who will never get a modicum of the exposure that he's getting. And for what? Failing. Let's not forget that. Failing against clearly a very strong puncher, but a faded 34, 35-year-old man who's had two losses and one very comprehensive as well. So they made out that it was a fight with a top tier heavyweight, and after that he was going to be elevated to the gods. He fell short against a man who himself was on the slide, and they put everything in place, location, refereeing approach to see him win, and he couldn't be asked to diet.
Uh, Normally I would speak to Fox. I don't speak to him now because I can't. You can't trust him as far as you could throw him, really. But we find out about people, don't we? But I have spoke to three other world champions and a female world champion, ex-world champion, and well, they're like, well, why is nobody mentioning he's unfit and just plodding forward? Nobody's mentioning that. All they're talking about is bravery and humbleness, and I don't want to see that because your job's to go in there and fight. That's why people are buying tickets. That's why people are signing up for DAZN. But my argument, and it's a big gripe with me, is when you're telling us that you're in the shape of your life and that your trainer, Jamie Gimme Moore and Fireman Sam are saying you can see him winning a world title. When we're told that and spun that narrative, and Eddie Hills is spinning it as well, and then you're getting on scales at 259, people are gasping and they're like, we've been duped again. Uh, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. What do you think?
It leaves a bitter taste in mine because genuinely, I've followed Dave Allen's career since. First time I remember him was when he fought Jason Gavin in a stinker. But I followed him because I thought he's a good lad. He had 10 amateur fights. He's local. He could do something here. And I felt sorry when he got fed to Ortiz and stuff. Although nobody made him getting in that ring as well. He's an adult. I don't have too much sympathy there. But yeah, it does leave a bitter taste in my mouth because two things don't lie, scales and mirrors, and he's failed on both of those counts. So yeah, it does. It rankles me. And I thought he were going to come in and look good because it's not always about the prettiest physiques. I completely get that. But for someone like Dave, it's indicative of whether he's put the work in. And he clearly hadn't, because a large part of the life of a boxer, even at heavyweight, is to put the right things in your body. And yet we've seen today and yesterday his main two things that he's mentioned are that he's had a KFC, then he had a Sunday dinner at his mum's. Fighters, he'll be go away now and get up to 21 and a half stone, won't he? And then just do it all again and we'll recycle it if he get to either get him to nick a win and have a British heavyweight title fight, or they'll buy the EBU and get him one of them, or God knows how they'll try and get him to squeeze down to Bridgerweight, which he could make, but at current rate he'd have to lose a limb because he wouldn't die out for it.
Well, he were an heavyweight when he were a big Ron at 232 pound. So where's that 2 stone come from then?
His arse and his belly.
Where's 2 stone come from since he were with Dennis? And then I look at these other weights here. Now they're saying he's in shape of his life. Right, well, how can he be if he's been 232 as a heavyweight? For
Absolutely. His body,
example,
it's fat. It's fat. He's got gradually fatter because he's never trained. And as you get older, and obviously he's 34 now, our metabolism doesn't get quicker, but he's still putting the same crap, if not more crap, in his body. And the times he has come in light, he mentioned starving himself as well. So he couldn't even. It's a choice you make. It's a choice you make to eat. We should all eat well, obviously, but we should definitely eat well if you're meant to be an elite sportsman on the cusp of seven-figure pay packets.
when he were lighter for the first Elmer Fudd fight than he were the other night, right? He were lighter for Amini Busetti, a guy with a losing record in July 2024. He were lighter then. He were lighter for Jake Darnell 2024. He were lighter for Fraser Clark. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
He were lighter
um,
for Michael Bassett 2023. So how is he in the shape of his life? How far do I need to go back here? It's bullshit. They know what happened when he got on them scales, but they went with the Eddie Hills narrative. It were all set up for him. Own fight. Steve Gray doing as he's told. We're not alleging anything there, but come on. Do you know what I mean? So all this about stronger, faster, quicker than a speeding bullet. Everybody's been duped because nobody believes it. They see a few training videos on Instagram without doing their homework. The scales do not lie. Do you
and
understand?
put absolutely, and it's not difficult to lose weight when you're as heavy as he was. I was 270 on the 11th of August. I'm 232 now. And I've not, it's not that difficult to lose weight when you're a fat blob like I was and like he's not a fat blob, but a lot heavier than he needs to be. Losing weight at heavyweights is easy. It's when you walk around at 146 and you've got it at 140 when you need to start playing with water and carb manipulation. It's really easy to lose weight as a heavyweight. It is. I've done it in a different sport. It's not difficult. It's just about eating the right things.
Okay, well, he's put a few posts out here. First post, I might do a UK tour in 6 rounds. Second post, I'm going to retire. Third post, I'll fight Elmer Fudd. Well, he's put Johnny Fisher. A third trilogy. I thought they were best mates and they're not going to fight, but he'll fight him now. Now he's been told. Fourth one, I might fight at Bridgeweight. Fifth one, no more getting out of shape now till I retire. Then I will get fat as fuck. But keeping on it now, make this last 18-month count. Look, he'll be fighting till Chisora's age. So forget this 18 month. He'll keep going and going and going until he can't string a full sentence together now. Because you can
And
only string
imagine,
half of one together now. So I don't know what to make of it all, but it just looks to me like they're playing on fairy tales, emotion and humbleness. And, yeah, he's a nice, humble guy. And look, it is what it is. When I do my Terry Chappendama, that'll be the full expose one when that comes out. So get ready for the Terry Chappendama interview. But I'll keep you all on hook till then about the lazy rhino. But putting a picture of a cup of tea with a tea bag in, and that's it. Is that what he's going to be on now? Do we expect? Does he expect us to believe that, or is that just for Eddie Hill's benefit that he's back in the gym already? What do you think?
I think if we'd have panned out from that picture, there'd have been a pack of jammy dodgers in it. And I'm not trying to make snide comments about him, but if your immediate reaction to losing a fight where you were gassed because you were too heavy is to have a bargain bucket and then talk about how good your mum's gravy was, um, he's got this wrong mindset. And if he fights Elmer, as limited as Elmer is, Elmer trains, Elmer trains, he lives a life, and I dare say he could beat him if Dave continues to.
Does
Um,
that mean they'd
there's
have to
not
do it a fourth time?
God help us not. But who knows? They'll recycle anything at Matchroom, won't they? They've got a new logo, but it's the same old shtick and the same old narrative. And with the Dave Humble hero stuff, it's a false narrative. Yes, as we mentioned yesterday, deserves lots of credit for being a tough, tough guy for getting in that ring and taking the shots. But it didn't have to be that way. There's nothing that can stop him. He could actually learn to lose weight, get faster, and move his head. He's choosing to almost go in. It's almost easy for Dave to go in as victim and get beat up and then go, oh, look, but I stood up. I didn't quit like I did against Price with me, Price and Freeze.
Okay, well
What?
this cup of tea here, I think it's funny, mate. Does that mean that he weren't in shape then for the Makhmedov fight? If he's putting this out now, does that mean he knows he weren't in shape? Because we were told by Jamie Moore he's in the shape of his life. He's going to win a world title. Jamie and Fireman Sam were saying.
Yeah, but like I say, the only bit of sympathy I have for the trainers is you can you get all the trainers in the world. He's had some good trainers, hasn't he, Dave? And he had Peter Fury and stuff. He's had Ingles and what you say what you want, but they've trained world champions. You can't make someone eat right and live right, can you? The issue more than the trainers is him, but what they are guilty of is peddling the false narratives as well, because they're all on the train ride with them, aren't they? It's all the same gravy train. And when your trainer used to be an MTK shill, you can't really expect them to be blurting honesty, can you?
Now, I said to my mate just now, Jamie Moore looked really upset and he's saying he's emotional about it all. So my mate's just turned around and said, yeah, Jamie Moore's just thinking about the Joshua money that he's just lost.
Absolutely. Like I say, last time he got upset because he got one in the leg, but he got 250,000 reasons to not be as upset. So I
Is that
dare
what he
say
got?
Jamie, when he was staying in an apartment of someone where he was mistakenly thought to be someone and got shot, he got 250,000 reasons to feel less sorry for himself and got, remember, he started getting fed some MTK fighters. Was it Frampton and others? He
Yeah, yeah,
started getting
yeah.
fed through. Yeah. So I wouldn't believe that Jamie's a hero. And I only got into it to help me mate Tommy Coyle out for a bit. Drivel.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose we've heard it all before from Rhino, but I called it before, but I still had him in my bet because it looked interesting with him winning by knockout. But
Yeah.
uh, okay, Peter Fury said Makhmedov's got the art of a P. I remember him telling Yui that about Pulev, but that didn't work out, did it? Everybody's an expert, aren't they? Before,
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't know Peter Fury had come out. It's last time I heard him, he was talking about how Huey will fight anyone, and they're all avoiding him. Which
yeah. Well, Yui said
I
he'll
don't.
deal with Usyk. He's on him man to beat him, but the people are saying behind the scenes at the moment that Yui would fight Rhino. What do you think to that one? Well, would anybody throw a punch?
Possibly only a few punches, but I do think it'd be a very easy sparring session for Huey because Huey can box. He might
Yeah.
not be the most palatable to watch, but like I say, they don't dole out sort of junior world titles for no reason in the arms. He's a good fighter, but he is not. He is not watchable. And Dave, with his come forward, don't bother moving me head, plod about style, could
Yeah.
be a difficult night to watch that.
Yeah, why can't TalkSport just come out and tell it straight instead of making excuses constantly? I've just seen the Judge Jordan interview on the Rhino, the Lazy Rhino. I've seen Super Bean and all the rest of them. I mean, Gareth A. Davis has done 11 interviews on all big channels. Big Malk's piping up. Bombay Dave. Big Malk's piped up again. What one's that on? Boxing Social. Rhino's piped up. What do I have to moan about? Well, you got out at Ring Alive, didn't you? You know, Condazole again. Beans saying he's emotional on the night he got involved. Bean were responsible for some really biased commentating. What do you think? Oh, AD Alapido's just come out. He's not mentioned anything about fitness or Mr. Humble. He's just saying, oh, Dave's just great guy. He's admitted he's not good enough. But what were we told beforehand? What did Dave say beforehand? He said, and I quote, "You're in a world of trouble, McBedoff." So it's all knackers, isn't it? We're all experts after the fact, obviously, but a lot's been said. But the writing were on the wall, really, wasn't it, after the weigh-in?
Absolutely, and the talks about and the likes of Bean's commentary and stuff. It's just hack for hire, isn't he? He'll you could listen to a fight that you didn't watch and then watch it without him, and you'd watch two different fights compared to how he spins it and how he commentates on it. But yeah, he's just peddling. He's doing the same thing as he did at Sky as well. So yeah, and the talk sport, it's all for access, isn't it? It's nauseating. It's all for access because they like getting their pump alongs, watch alongs, and come alongs and talk the same drivel that
Super Bean probably
Matchroom.
had a bet on him.
I did. He will have put odds on him, won't he? But obviously, yeah, yeah. He was maybe so upset because he had him to get a points decision. So yeah. Who knows?
Most interviews from the media at the moment: Gareth A. Davis 11, Bombay Dave 7. Obviously, Rhino's done more than that, but Gareth A. Davis has done the most out of the media guys. He gone into bat for him. Obviously, he had his toes sucked by Rhino after the fight, didn't he?
He did. He did. It was a little love in there between um, yeah. It was just nauseating as well. Thought could maybe said thanks Mick Marsden for not pulling your hair out every time I wouldn't train properly for you, but never know. We could but live in hope. But yeah,
Oh,
it's
Mick
just.
Marsden were family, wasn't he?
He was family until he got a better family and matchroom money, and he left the family. So yeah, there's family for you.
Yeah, I've got a friend actually. He's got a double glazing business in Conisbrough. I grew up with him, and he says to me, "When friends start saying that you're family, you've got a problem."
Absolutely. The last two friends that started talking to me about that asked me for money about 3 months after. So yeah, always be wary when they start
Yeah.
talking like that because you're usually after something or they're off.
Did you hear about Smiggers Tits and Daddy Elmer having beef on Twitter? Big John Elmer, that I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
Big John Fisher. This guy, this is from Mikey Jones. Big John Elmer offered to meet Smigger Smig, who was mouthing off, calling Rhino Dave and Elmer gimmicks. I had to Google that word, gimmick. Think he's
What?
trying to say I'm an ABA champion, a British champion, and a Commonwealth silver medalist, unlike you lot. What do you think to that? Well, and he also says, remember when Smiggers' titties thought his testosterone levels were the same as Beta Beeve, yet he's laid on the couch eating a chip butty, and Beta Beeve's running up mountains chopping trees down with an axe.
Yeah. Yeah. And like
Daddy
I say,
Elmer, he says Daddy Elmer was very sensitive regarding Smigger Smig's comments. But Smigger Smig is a bell end. Do you remember him in the Ward fight, getting on the scales half a stone heavier?
I do. I remember when he came back for that fight. Was it? Yeah, it would have been light heavyweight, wouldn't it? He'd have fought at. But yeah, like I say, Paul said a lot of silly things over the years. but he's right. What he said about the gimmick thing, he is, and the fact that I feel a little bit sorry for Elmer because his dad coming out. You know, when you think I don't need you to fight my corner, or maybe he does, but I think Paul's got more right to say anything that he wants about the sport of boxing than the dad of someone that's not even domestic level. What's he done? What's he going to do when he's mentioned he'll remember him? What's he going to do? Sit on him? He knows nothing about boxing. And I remember him when he talked about he was going to sort of semi-threaten Gad. I just thought you absolutely. He's a man that loves being in his business, isn't it? I'm the big fat jovial fat guy. No, that could be Dave in 10, 15 years, but who knows? But yeah, Paul was right to call him a gimmick. And what's his dad going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah. AD Alapido, he's a DAZN man. They're not going to rock the boat. But none of these so-called experts who are all pretend fitness freaks and this and that, none of them, absolutely nobody, has mentioned anything about punch output, no upper body movement, no fainting, and fit and absolute no fitness. Or Rhino fucking bragging about what he's been eating. Nobody's mentioned the weight, the weighing. Nobody wants to mention it. It's like they're scared to death. It's like a big elephant in the room. Even Johnny Horsecock on his video now, they're all just going on about toughness and this and that. What about Shapey Alive? We were expecting Superman to turn up, weren't we?
We were with all the, and he did. So I think he did. He spent more time focusing on his YouTube interviews and his channel than he did on the diet. He should have gone away for the 12 weeks or longer, and then just gone and got himself in fantastic shape and come back. Because then, if there's something left and he had a chance of making it, he wouldn't be doing it. But what was he doing instead? He was in the corner of his fighters. You can't do two things at once. And that's what Duke McKenzie said as well, which I thought was very true. Can't talk about how he's managing and training these fighters, but he's still got ambitions in the sport. He's gone one leg out the door, but like you said, he'll be fighting until he's past the age of Chisora
Well,
because
what's he going to
no,
do? He's not
no,
going to go get a job. There's not an ounce of graft in him.
he's got no qualifications or experience, and he's got no
But
the
how
work
can you
ethics.
get a job, right, when you can go on social media, talk absolute bollocks, right? And people are saying, oh, he does views. We'll give him a chance. Should he be on Misfits? Is Paul Smith right?
Maybe he'll transition that way. He goes on TalkSport enough. He was on Sky for a bit. Maybe he will transition and start um, chinning has-beens and nobodies. Maybe that's the journey. But I think until then, Matchroom see enough in spinning the false narrative that he's the everyday hero to recycle some title fights that he doesn't deserve or some big fights, and then maybe feed him to Fisher as well when they think Fisher's ready or not, because they won't. They'll if they think Fisher's only ever going to have a very glass ceiling, then they'll feed him in for another win. But yeah, weirdly, he's now got lots of options in the heavyweight world, and more so than people that are ranked above him and or should be ranked above him as well. So weird old sport boxing and none weirder than the heavyweight division in the UK at the moment.
Francis Warren, aka the Housewife's favourite, manager from Moses Atome, says Mac Bidoff's British level, Dave Allen's area level. What do you think to that?
Say that again, Mac domestic war.
No,
Just repeat.
Francis Warren, aka
Yeah,
the Housewife's favourite,
yeah.
says Mac Bidoff is British level and Rhino's area level. What do you think?
Oh, I'd say Mac is probably. I know he lost to Vianello. Euro level doesn't mean as much as it used to. I'd say that perhaps Mac's Euro level and Dave is sub domestic level. He'd only ever nick a British title. There's no way he'll beat Freeze if he managed to fight. But often the people win the British title, then chuck it. So he might win it. He might nick it for a vacant if they get him an easy thing. But Dave's domestic level, I'd say Mac is international European type level.
Does
But
Mac Bidoff beat David Adelaide or Fraser Clark?
I would say Fraser Clark, no, because Fraser's fought those people for a long time in the amateurs. David Adelaide, unless the Dark Lord works his dark arts when we all go to Adam
Go
Booth.
to Adam Booth!
I don't think he does. And Adelaide, he's been put. Adelaide was put down by Wardley, who's a phenomenal puncher, but Matt can bang. Like I say, let's give Dave the one credit that he did has to have. He took some shots in that fight. So no, I think he'd beat Adelaide, but I think Fraser would box him. And also with his comeback, he's got some power as well now. He's a boxer puncher, is our Fraser. So I think Fraser would beat him as well. I don't think this is the end for Fraser at domestic level.
Okie dokie. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Sean. It's been a real tonic. I will wrap this up later on this week, this Rhino Mania, where I am definitely going to put him to the sword. It's the one that they've all been waiting for. I think Terry's been talking about it on X. It's got to come out. So there you go. I've saved it long enough. I always like to save things. I might need it for a rainy day. Well, the Terry Chappendama interview later this week will be a classic. Okie doke. Are you all right, Sean?
Oh, really good. I'll be listening in when the Terry Chappendam one does go in. I like listening to Terry. He knows his stuff and he's very analytical. But no, I am good. I'm feeling really positive. No grumbles.
Right. Okay. Right. One peace out. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was Sean from Humberside, ex-strongman. Women love him, men want to go for a pint with him. That's about it, really. Well, thing is, you see, with me, people in glass houses, they shouldn't throw stones, should they? Should keep their mouth shut instead of going bragging to people, because you never know who you're going to fall out with in boxing, do you? And let me tell you this, when you fall out with people in boxing, especially when you backstab people, they've got long memories, haven't they? All right. And people always want to squeal to the pork. We're going to have a lot of fun this week. One piece out. I'll be seeing you, Rhino, later on this week. Booyaka. Pop, pop, bang.